Sometimes you're flush and sometimes you're bust. And when you're up, it's never as good as it seems. And when you're down, you never think you're going to be up again. But life goes on. Remember that. Money isn't real, George. It doesn't matter. It only seems like it does.
All right, man. We are hard at it again. Back in the studio. Another episode. Eric. You know, we always have awesome guests, but sometimes it's nice it's just you and me sometimes.
It is. People like to hear a little bit of the original cut.
The OG of the show.
That's what I like to call it, the original flavor.
Yeah, man. I mean, but not to take away from all of our fantastic guests that we've had. You can always go back to other episodes and check these awesome interviews out, and we've had magnificent ones. We're going to have good ones in the future.
Great ones. We have great ones coming up. We've got a lot on the docket. We love all the feedback. I'm getting a lot of feedback from a lot of our listeners on some of the episodes they enjoy, some other things that they hear us explore, and even have some of our guests back. We love our regular, certified therapist, Josh Silato, who's coming on once a month. And really, like, every time we do an episode with Josh, I walk away going,
right?
Man, I felt like I just did a deep mental dive.
Dude, I feel like so enlightened. Like I'm going to go and like cure stuff. I don't know, man. I feel fantastic when he comes in. But you know who else we love is, right now, one of our main sponsors who helps us with our studio and all that stuff is good old Rooftop Realty, man. I don't think we plug them enough.
We don't.
We probably should. We appreciate them. And we,
I've put a lot into that company.
Yeah, I know you have. But and they put a lot into this podcast. We've helped out. We've grown from a kitchen to a very nice studio. We're slowly getting some more gear in here, and we're getting better and better to equip for better interviews with fantastic guests that are coming. So we appreciate Rooftop Realty, and when you're in the need for a home rental, tell them, Eric, you do it all, don't you?
Yeah, we do it all. We just it's still a tremendous market out there. That's the number one question we get. Are people buying and selling? Interest rates are below 3%. We've got
so is this a buyer's or seller's market?
Both. It's
really?
a win-win for everybody. If you can buy right now, it's great. If is the key word.
Is there a lot of people that are struggling trying to get that together?
Well, no, it's not just the down payment. They're also struggling with, you got a verified job. If you got a job that, verified income, guess what? You got some keys to drive. The problem being is... Wait
a minute. That's a problem to verify a job? Like, I don't know if I would be shopping for a house if I didn't have a job. I think I would try to settle that problem first before a home.
There's unemployed, there's laid off, furloughed, and then employed. Wow. And so a lot of times if you're furloughed, you technically still have a job and you're making some money, but the banks will not give you a loan based on your furlough income.
Interesting. So are you getting a lot of those kind of people that are looking for homes that are in that kind of position, like a furloughed, laid off, something like that?
I'm more in the category of the people with the verified employment.
Okay. That's where I would be. If I was in that situation, I'm just speaking for myself. But if I'm in that situation, I think I would secure a steady income before starting to shop for a house. But that's just me.
Well, a lot of people were in the process of shopping for a home.
Oh, and then when this whole problem hit.
And when the COVID hit, it hit bad. And then people were like, and they thought the prices were going to plummet. Prices didn't plummet. Interest rates plummeted. They were low to begin with, but they plummeted even further. And the thing is you have low supply that matches low demand. So you don't really have an imbalance of homes. What you have is homes that are, if homes are sitting, either A, the seller wants what the seller wants, is not willing to compromise, or B, a home just does not have the amenities or the upgrades that the market demands right now. And so, plus you have a lot of different loan guidelines. The guidelines for loans are changing every day, from like how much you need to put down, where your income is coming from. All those things are structuring for different variables, and people are scrambling every day. It's literally scorching outside.
Oh, it's so hot.
And well, not just outside. It was a metaphor for the loan guidelines are scorching people literally every day. And so, you talk about rentals. We do property management. I think we've added like 73 units in the last 45 days.
Nice.
We also do HOA management. We've added 3 accounts in the last 3 months. And so we have a lot of momentum right now, and people are choosing, a provider that will go over and above, and they understand the quality, and they understand that, there's a lot of value, not only in relationships, but in knowledge and opportunity. So,
well, and I know that's what you and your realtors have, is that knowledge, that willing to help. So if you need anything for a home, give Eric a call, man.
We're here for you.
Yeah, you can not just hear his pretty voice, you can see his pretty face.
Oh,
He'll come on out. He'll come out, sell your home.
Make you laugh.
Yes, he'll definitely make you laugh.
We were
fill you with sarcasm, one or the other.
We'll help you load up the boxes, whether you're leaving or coming. We'll help you unload and load. And we're helping a family move this week, and it was 112.
Oh, dude!
Got my son out there to make a little extra side cash.
Nice,
dude. He was blasted.
Dude, kids need that, man. Get them outside.
Yeah,
it's hard when it's hot. The other morning, I woke up. I got up at 4 to go jogging, and
it was still 100
like
degrees,
102 or 103, man. And I was like, but I pushed through it. It was hot. It was so hot.
I saw you jogging from the corner to the 7-Eleven. That was that was awesome. Slurpee, please.
Yeah, it was on the 11th, man. I had to go get that Slurpee, that free Slurpee, man. That's where it's at. So what have you been doing over the weekends?
We got a deck put in.
Did you finish it?
One piece of it. Now my wife saw how this one is. That she wants the other one, which was built out of 2 different colors. She's like, we need to tighten this up.
Right.
So we just we had a good time. We went whitewater rafting on the Sevier River. That was a blast. With another family. We kids were able to do a lot of ATVing, get some cool weather, and get some get some dust on. So that was fun. What about you guys?
We've been going to some family reunions the last couple weekends. So my wife went. I had to work over the 4th, but she went up to the Bundy family reunion, which is a real big. If anyone knows the Bundys, they were really heavy in the news a while ago, out of Mesquite and stuff. And they have a huge family reunion with like pushing over 900 people.
I thought her bumper sticker that said "I'm a Bundy" or "I support Bundy" was just, she was just being sarcastic.
She's definitely being sarcastic. Anyway, no, but she does support him. It's family. But anyway, she drove the van up there with all the camping gear with some of the kids. I had to obviously be at work, and then
that sounds horrible.
It's way up on this mountain called Mount Trumbull. I've never been there. I have not gone to this reunion, so I'm speaking secondhand here.
Third person, actually.
It's like a 3-hour dirt road from. I think she drove out of Colorado City.
Wow.
Headed straight up into the mountain. I think you could get out of there from St. George, but whatever. 3 hours on this dirt road. When the van came back, I didn't have work that Monday after that weekend. The van came back. I spent all day. Dude, there was sand. And it's that poof.
Silt.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah. It was everywhere in that van. It was crazy. But she had a great time. She said it was good. Last weekend we had another family reunion. Her family does a lot together, and
that's cool.
I got a kind of a cool story. I'm going to say it as respectfully as I can. My father-in-law has advanced Alzheimer's, So he's starting to, lose his memory and lose his stuff. It's heartbreaking in itself. But at the same time, my wife and I have done a lot with them, and other siblings have worked a lot with their parents. But we want to spend that time with them. Anyways, there's also some comedy moments that come with the Alzheimer's. And so we were at this family reunion over the weekend.
Hey, just for our listeners, he meant to say Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's?
Yeah, you're like all-star.
All-star. Alzheimer's. Anyways.
Alzheimer's with a Z.
We were having a lunch, and everyone was there. It wasn't too many people.
What kind of food was it?
It was just a lunch, like a potluck type thing. There was all kinds of food.
No smoked meat or anything? No.
I'm sure, yeah, there was some meat there. Man, I don't know. There was all kinds of food. I've been trying to stay on keto, dude, so I try not to look at all the other goodies.
And you almost look at too.
So, anyways, they asked Shelly's dad. He was the oldest member of the family there, and they asked him to say the prayer. Right? So he gives that look. And some of the family members, I do have to admit, some of the extended family members don't know the severity of his condition at the moment. So they just didn't know. So they asked him to say the prayer. And he starts the prayer, and he says, "I'm so grateful to be here on Easter Sunday," and started talking about Easter. And I was having my own like National Lampoon's Christmas moment, And I say that it's funny. It also breaks the heart at the same time. It kind of, this disease that we've learned from him it's a nasty disease. It really pulls on the heartstrings a lot, mainly because this is someone that you love. This is, someone, a close member of the family. And then when
does he recognize Shelly still?
No, he does, but his personality slowly has changed, and my wife has even said he's not the father that I had. He looks like him, he's there,
right? But
personality wise, he's really lost.
Yeah,
so it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, you still got to have a little bit of comedy in there at the same time. But we had a wonderful time this weekend with him. It was a lot of fun.
And part of that, the reason I was leading to that was when my aunt had Alzheimer's, my cousin was like, "Hey, and we weren't close, but we were pretty close. Like there was something, like we had a bond. It never hurts to be one of the favorites." And he's like, "Eric, even you, she doesn't recognize you." And before she passed. Yeah, it was like we would go in, we would see her and niceties and everything, but she wouldn't ask who we were, and she wouldn't know who we were anyways. Mm-hmm. And that was it was kind of heartbreaking, and I think with that disease, I think it's us that struggled the hardest with it because it's so illogical. It's hard, like you said, it's heartbreaking. As long as you can find some joy in the journey to anything, you're just trying to, make a little bit, make a little funny out of things that could be, they're going to hurt no matter what.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? It's almost like he's reverting back to childhood behavior. It's almost like having a kid in the car, they rode with us. Their license had been taken away. They don't have a vehicle anymore. So we drove them up to Utah, and he read every sign that went by. He had them. Look, gas is only $2 over there. Yep, all right. Oh, look, pancakes for 99 cents. Like he's reading every sign like a child would.
Yeah.
Every time we cross a cattle guard, whoop, there's a cattle guard. I find fun in it because I do enjoy spending time with him.
Yeah.
And I know that the sun is setting on their life, and it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, I'm taking all of these opportunities to spend it. And it's important for my wife. She has put up with she's worked hard at this, and it is heartbreaking because it's such a loved one. But anyway, so that's what we did over the weekend. We hung out with them and try to get out of the heat. It was hot up in the mountains, man. It was hot everywhere this weekend.
It is. It's hot everywhere altogether. So
I got a question for you. We'll probably
okay.
end it on this conversation. So how often do you take your wife out on a date? Do you have a set time?
No, we don't have a set time. Her husband is always coming and going. He's always got a bunch of projects, and he's always trying to stay busy. And some of it
Her
right
little
now,
sugar daddy that she has?
yeah, a little sugar daddy that she has. The other part about that is, in the COVID times, it's weird. It's a weird atmosphere. So last week, we started coming up with some ideas of what's on our dating bucket list, and one of hers was for us to take a cooking class together.
Nice.
Well, yeah, there's not a lot of cooking classes, so I just Googled it, and I'm excited to have this guest come on. Actually, so we just blindly, just not a fan.
So did he come to your house, or you went to a kitchen?
We went to his house.
Okay.
He has and him and his wife, I mean, they're totally all in this, and they do all these different, you can pick what meals you want. And it was talked a lot about like what he, I got to know him. He said normally this is like groups of like 4 to 8 to 12 that are learning how to make these meals. And we got a private chef for the night, just Sarah and I.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
What'd you cook?
Toscano soup.
Oh.
Lobster and shrimp. It was excellent. And the way it shows you how to mince things, how to prepare the food, and even sharpening knives, like a lot of it's like a little mini culinary course on how to prepare some great food. And my wife was kids. She's like, yeah, Eric kind of really sucked me in. He had all these culinary skills. He made this great manicotti dish, and I haven't seen that manicotti dish since we were dating. So it gave a chance for us to just settle down. Everything was like COVID friendly, and it was really awesome. And then
So you saying about maybe weekly? You try to
we
take
try
her
to do
out
weekly.
we
try to do
leave the
weekly.
kids at home and at least go do something.
At least even if it's just a drive somewhere, just to connect, just to go walk around somewhere. For a long time restaurants weren't open, so that luxury was taken. So or sometimes we still go out, and sometimes we do take the kids on our date because it's COVID, and we're like, well, we only got this much time. And so it's an interesting time in dating.
With the COVID, it helped us to start, or at least start thinking outside the box. At least for my wife and I, we would try to do weekly date nights. It didn't always happen, but we tried. And it was always kind of the same thing. We get a bite to eat. Sometimes we slip in a movie. Sometimes we'll go do something else. But it was always the same thing. When COVID hit, we really started thinking out of the box.
Yeah.
We started going places we never thought before. My wife wants to take a dance class. Well, my wife can dance. I cannot. She wants me to take a class with her so I can learn how to not look like an idiot out there.
Nice. We've done that before.
Have you?
Well, it used to be salsa nights at the Gold Coast where the Pro Cowboys call home. I hear some of the former valets there are phenomenal dancers, really good looking.
Like way formal, like
25
years ago.
Like
formal.
25 years ago. And we've and even finding dance classes is for adults. I know a lot of the dance studios were starting to do that. I don't know if they're still doing that, just with the old COVID.
Well, they have some private lessons that my wife found, and then even the city of Henderson offers lessons at the Park and Rec. I don't know if they're doing it now with all of this
I
stuff
think that's
going on.
Isn't that at the Heritage Senior Center? Is that what you're talking about?
I think I know what you're getting at, but yeah, maybe. Whatever it takes. All I'm saying is when my wife went to the Bundy reunion, that's something that they do a lot up there is they have these dances and they do this country swing type stuff, and she had a great time. So she definitely has that bug, and I'm down. I really would like to learn how. I have no idea how. But anyway, so we're thinking outside the box, trying to.
That's awesome. Yeah,
trying to do some stuff.
we're trying to come up with, like I said, we're trying to put together a bucket list of dates. Like, hey, what are things that we would like to do, and then try to find a way to do it.
And a lot of these things that we've done, especially over COVID, it didn't really cost us anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we hit up maybe a 7-Eleven or something, got some ice cream, went to a park, and we would spend hours just talking and catching up. When you have so many kids at home, there's a lot of times my wife and I are in the same home, but we don't say a word to each other. She's doing this, I'm doing this, I'm helping this kid, she's helping that kid, dinner, clean up, all that. And the next thing you know, we're in bed, and very few words are said. So it's nice to be able to just do something like that. So the reason I kind of brought this up, I wanted to ask you, and something I wanted to tell our listeners, how important that is, to recommit to your family, recommit to your marriage. And
actually, I would say the word is not commit, it's connect.
Oh, connect. There we go.
And my wife talks about that all the time on connection, like when you're feeling it, when you're on the same page. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of times when I'm meeting with clients or potential clients, I talk about, hey, this is what, pre-COVID was going on. And a lot of times we're talking finances and jobs. And I find a lot of people are saying, hey, COVID hit, I'm going to hit the reset button. I always wanted to do this. Now, how can I do that? Or, hey, we don't want to live here, we want to live there. Or, hey, we've got this going on, so how can we manage that? And so I think in a lot of ways too is what we're talking about is couples are doing the same thing. And we're all learning, hey, it's not about, hey, if I had, an extra $1,000 a week, I would take my wife out,
Yeah, you don't need that.
You don't need that. It's like, it's a little bit of hitting that reset button. How did we end up connecting in the first place? And also too, we're, you and I are in this, we are in midlife, and it's funny, my son plays a card game, and when we're talking about the card game, we're talking about, are you at the beginning of the game, you're at the mid game, you're at the end game, and typically you want to be in different places depending on the flow of that game. And I've really thought about that as a typification for life. Like, how are you preparing? Like, there's so many jokes about midlife crisis, and I think I've mentioned on the show, 10 years ago, I had a friend who was a divorce attorney. He's like, hey, Eric, send me some referrals. And I'm like, why would I be sending you referrals? And now it's like,
that's the oddest request from a divorce attorney.
Well, they're like, hey, keep my card close. And I was like, I'll call you, don't call me.
Yeah, right.
And now we're in midlife, and man, it's relationships, and I think too, people are just playing different cards. They're like, hey, this is the hand I was dealt, and I want to reshuffle. And I think that's interesting, and I know there's even more heartbreak. I know there's some joys. I know that people are still we just had a friend actually talk about it over the weekend. My wife's best friend just got engaged, and so and they're in midlife, and so just actually watching them go through the dating process has helped it kind of invigorate our relationship. We're like, because they're tasting that young love.
Yeah. That excitement.
Excitement, And so, I when I think about them and I see their relationship, I'm like, hey, I need to step up my game. I got some young love in me still.
Oh yeah.
And so, and I think that's, hey, don't take your spouse or girlfriend for granted. I think that's where the game gets stale, is like you said, oh, we're going to dinner and a movie, or we're going to go, we're going to go spend our $100. We have to pay for a babysitter. Was it really worth it? Did we? And that's why, I think the word is connect. And a lot of things we're talking about with Josh, he was like, it's not supposed to be about, we need more connection. We need social connections more right now than we do social distancing.
Well, you can pay for some cheap dates or pay for Josh Silito to fix your marriage, one or the other, right?
Yeah.
But I like the word connect, man, because there's a lot of times, I won't lie, in our marriage, we're, like I said, we're in the same house, but we're not connected.
Yeah.
She's doing her thing, I'm doing my thing. and we can feel that we're disconnected, in our own relationship, even though we're not mad at each other or there's not a problem. We're just, life is pulling us apart, and we have to be, reconnect. So
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good way of putting it.
Well, and I have to give credit to my wife. That's my wife's word, not mine.
That's
so,
awesome.
There's wisdom.
Well, the one thing that I can say, and I can probably speak for Eric, since I do know his wife and he knows mine, but the one thing that's helped Eric and I is we definitely married up. I think I married much better than probably maybe I deserve, or even for me, So that helps me out a lot.
Well, so like we can kid, and people are laughing when you say that, but then they think about it. They're like, oh yeah, they're like, most people are like, Sarah, how do you do it? Like what happened? What were you thinking when that happened? And I go, yeah.
Usually Shelly gets are you serious? Are you sure? Really?
Sarah usually gets good luck. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Better you than me is what most people say.
A glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, we're doing good, man.
Nice. Well, let's talk about your kids for a second.
My kids.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's up in arms right now, and some of the guests that we're going to have on, we're going to talk about the school year. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what's going to happen in a month. Nobody knows. Everyone's, and I don't blame them. Like, there's a whole lot of not information, a whole lot of misdirection going on right now.
Well, in LA, they will not open the schools this fall, they announced. So in California, they said, the news said LA. I don't know if that's all of California. I don't want to misspeak.
LA County.
Yeah, LA County, that they're not opening up the schools. At the moment, the way that the school that my kids go to, they can go Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is cleaning, sanitation day.
Let's just call that the school district Plan A for right now.
Well, my kids go to a charter school. Is the school district kind of doing the same thing? I think they're all mirroring
I'm trying to
the
loop
same
you
thing.
in. Trying to loop you in. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
But so there are differences. So private schools are going boom, lights are on 5 days a week.
Really?
Charter schools and public schools are going to, let's call that Plan A, which is, I was just having a discussion with a neighbor, and she works for the school district, and she's like, Plan A is a no-go. She's like, so many teachers also have kids.
Yeah.
And then how are they supposed to be in school and their kids at home?
Or even any working parent that has this. And then you honestly going to put kids at home. Yeah, you supply them with the laptop, you supply them with everything that they need. Come on, dude. If there's not a parent there, you're going to tell me a 10-year-old kid's going to, on his own, maybe some kids, your kids probably would. I know my kids would be on Fortnite way quicker than Gigi or whatever they're going to be working on.
So I was talking to a person at the school district, and they're like, oh, we're so worried about the kids without internet and how they're going to survive. And I'm like, the internet? I'm like, dude, you can catch the internet. Like, you can bum internet anywhere in town. I said, the problem
There's a homeless guy on the corner that has Wi-Fi.
Dude, hotspot everywhere. I said, the problem is these teachers TA, otherwise known as the parent.
Yeah.
And I said, so they're supposed to get 2 days of instruction. I guarantee you, day one is, let's check your parents' homework. Oh, your parents suck.
Yeah, right.
And then day two is like new instruction. And then you got 3 days. So it's going to be a whole lot of nada. So
I'm kind of frustrated by it. We're going to try to do what we can.
He means
my wife is
Shelly.
My wife is a stay-at-home mom, so she can be there. I'm trying to think outside, like with everyone else, because there are a lot of working parents out there that I don't know how this is going to work. But even as a stay-at-home mom, my wife is like, we're not teachers.
Yeah, my wife's in the same boat. She's not a teacher either. She didn't go to school for teaching. And the hardest part is trying to be a TA or a teacher's assistant for 8 teachers across many school levels is it's going to be super difficult. And then, then mix in, if both spouses are working, now you've got an extra layer and you got kids sitting at home,
I don't know. I think it's a mixture of disaster.
Well,
I don't know how they're going to do it. I think they need to just to roll with it and let's go,
And then, your oldest daughter just graduated. Now think about the kids that are supposed to be graduating next year.
I have another daughter graduating next year. I have a kid back to back.
So, just think about, and then you have another son that's starting high school, right?
Yeah, I have another one starting high school and then another one that will be a junior.
So, and so for
I think I got a kid in every grade.
You have a sophomore, almost.
I don't have a sophomore.
So one of the episodes we're trying to put together is pre-K, like for the kids, all the special programs. That'll be interesting, and how COVID is affecting those mechanisms. Because
absolutely,
a lot of times those special programs we're not talking academics. We're talking about a personal progression that and so if they're not getting personal progression, that might put them back a year or two.
Absolutely. They can fall way behind and then they won't be graduating next year.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm really worried. Those are some things I'm worried about. So
for sure.
And so we'll try to get some.
But other than that, the kids are all right, man. I think they're having a fun summer. Ryder spends a lot of time at Cowabunga Bay.
He seems to be on the lazy river a lot. Like when
all the time.
One lifeguard is there, it's getting a little getting about that time.
Yeah, right. His little sandlot scenario.
Yeah. He's looking for windy peppercorn.
But anyways, yeah. So we're doing good. We're just surviving this heat, man, and just trying to stay cool and do it. But anyways, and the show, man. What's up?
I think too, we're gonna have. I think one of the things that Adam, for our listeners, real quick, we're wrapping up here, is we're gonna start having a little calendar of guests, and that way people can look forward to some of our episodes, and some of the topics, and one of the things too is I'm getting a lot of feedback, Adam. I don't know about you, is that the listeners are like, hey, I really They want to interact with some of our guests a little bit more, and I think. We're trying to build up the social media. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to Adam and I. We're pretty attentive.
Yep. I actually have a question for the listeners. I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to try this. Let's try this. So if you're a fan of the show, and if you go to iTunes or anywhere you catch your podcast at, and you go to Staying in Trouble, you notice that all of our shows are numbered. Our episodes are numbered. I always number them, whatever number they are. And then with the name of the person that we're interviewing at that time. And then down in the description, I tried to put a description in there that introduces our guests in a way of whatever professional they are. Let's pick on Josh. He's our certified therapist and so on. And I give a little description of the show and so on. Maybe some links to you can get with Josh or get with us or whatever. I want to ask the listeners, and I want you guys to put your answers in the comments, if on iTunes, or DM us on Instagram. Would you rather have a title to the show, or would you rather just have a number? Something that I've been thinking about. And I want the guests to
that's a deep thought.
I want them to tell me what. Do you want me to come up with the title of the show, like a fun little title, or would you want me to just keep to the numbers? Is the numbers easier to track?
I would say the title.
You like the title?
Oh, I love the title.
So just put a fun title of whatever that show is.
Yep. And also another challenge.
I want the listeners to tell me.
Another listener
comments,
challenge is we do have the capability to do live, but I think that kind of defeats the podcast purpose because most people listen when they can listen. Mm-hmm. And so if our listeners would like to have some more live, one of the joys of the live shows are the commentary where people can actually
interact
with the guests. And so if that's something you might be interested in, We'll get Josh back in here. We'll give Josh. Most of the listeners are starting to get accustomed with Josh and his wisdom, and I think that would be interesting to.
That would be fun, like do a little question and answer type thing with him. I think he would like that too.
And then I got a couple listeners. One of them, my brother, who wants to be, wants to interact with our last guest, Terrence, and talk gaming. And I was at a client's house today, and when we started talking about gaming, and he popped right in and started, everyone. Gaming is way prevalent right now during COVID, and so I think we'll probably have Terrence back in and maybe give us a little gaming update, a little COVID gaming update, I guess.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Well, right on, man. We appreciate everyone listening to the show. And please, at any given time, go back and listen to our episodes. We have fantastic guests, and listen to what they have to say. And we look forward to working hard and planning better shows, man.
All right.
This is awesome. All right. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll talk to you later.